The chill in the air of the Zurich boardroom seemed to amplify the coldness in Mr. Armitage's eyes. I, Anya Petrova, head of global partnerships for Stellatech, a position I'd clawed my way to over 15 grueling years, was being unceremoniously dismissed. Anya, Armitage began, his voice dripping with a condescending politeness that made my skin crawl. Stellatech is moving in a new direction, a more streamlined direction. We're focusing on technological innovation, not the soft skills that your department emphasizes. My department. The department that had secured the multi-billion-dollar contract with Kitech, the one that had salvaged the disastrous Swisscom deal, the one that had consistently outperformed all projections. My department, built on years of cultivating personal relationships, of understanding cultural nuances, of knowing that a handshake and a shared meal could often accomplish more than 1,000 emails. But Mr. Armitage, I protested, struggling to keep my voice even, the Kitech deal alone represents 20% of our annual revenue. Those relationships are vital. They are not soft skills. They are the foundation upon which our success is built. He waved a dismissive hand, the glint of his expensive watch catching the light. Sentimentality, Anya. Business is business. We have algorithms now that can predict client behavior, AI that can personalize communications. We don't need hand-holding. Hand-holding. That's what he called it. He saw only the surface, the dinners, the golf games, the carefully chosen gifts. He didn't see the years I'd spent building trust, learning languages, navigating complex cultural landscapes. He didn't see the countless hours spent on planes, away from my family, sacrificing my personal life for the sake of Stellatech. The injustice of it all burned within me. I had poured my heart and soul into this company, bled for it, and now some arrogant, freshly minted executive, blinded by the allure of technology, was dismissing me and everything I stood for. "And the severance package?" I asked, the words catching in my throat. Armitage smiled, a chillingly insincere gesture. "Generous, I assure you. More than generous. Consider it a reward for your service." The generous severance package barely covered my mortgage. It was a pittance compared to the value I had brought to the company. It was an insult. As I gathered my belongings, the weight of the cardboard box heavy in my arms, I saw the pitying glances of my former colleagues. They knew. They knew that Armitage was making a colossal mistake. They knew that without the human element, Stellatech was a ship without a rudder. Leaving the building, I felt a wave of despair wash over me. 15 years. Gone. Just like that. But beneath the despair, a flicker of something else began to ignite. Anger. And with anger came resolve. Armitage thought he could replace me with algorithms and AI. He thought he could dismiss the importance of human connection. He was about to learn a very hard lesson. He had underestimated me. He had underestimated the power of my network, and he had underestimated the depth of my determination. I may have been out, but I was far from finished. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of something new, something bigger, something that would make Armitage regret the day he ever heard my name. Resumo. Temático. Uma profissional de relações internacionais, injustamente demitida por um executivo arrogante que desvaloriza sua expertise, utiliza sua reputação e contatos para criar sua própria empresa e superar seu antigo empregador, demonstrando o valor insubstituível das relações humanas nos negócios. The sting of Armitage's condescension lingered long after I'd left Stellatech's sterile offices. The generous severance barely covered 3 months of bills, a stark reminder of my precarious position. I walked, not towards my apartment, but towards the small, unassuming cafe where I often met with clients, handheld, as Armitage so eloquently put it. As I sat nursing a lukewarm coffee, my phone buzzed. It was Isabella Rossi, CEO of Rossi Corp, a major player in the renewable energy sector and a Stellatech client I'd personally brought on board. "Anya, darling, what's this I hear?" Isabella's voice was sharp, laced with concern. "Rumors are swirling about Stellatech, about you leaving." I hesitated, unsure how to phrase the truth. "It's true, Isabella. Mr. Armitage decided my skills weren't aligned with the company's new direction." A pregnant silence followed. Then Isabella exploded. "Aligned? Anya, you are Stellatech. You secured the Rossi Corp partnership. Do they think those algorithms he's so fond of can charm my notoriously difficult board?" I managed a weak laugh. "Apparently, he does. This is outrageous. I'm pulling Rossi Corp's contract. I will not work with a company that undervalues talent like yours. You're irreplaceable, Anya. Absolutely irreplaceable." My heart leapt. "Isabella, you can't." "I can, and I will. Consider it a demonstration of my continued faith in you. What are you going to do now, Anya?" That question hung in the air, heavy with possibility. I had a non-compete, of course, but it was narrowly worded, focusing on specific technologies. not the broader field of international partnerships, and Isabella's word, they planted a seed. "I'm not sure yet," I said carefully, "but I'm not giving up." "Good, don't, because I have an idea, a very good idea. Meet me for dinner tonight at La Scala, 8 o'clock, and Anya, and wear something fabulous. We have a revolution to plan." As I hung up, a surge of adrenaline coursed through me. The fear was still there, a knot in my stomach, but it was overshadowed by something else: excitement. Isabella's unwavering support was a lifeline, a validation of everything I had worked for, and the prospect of building something of my own, something that valued human connection above all else, was intoxicating. That evening, as I walked into La Scala, I saw Isabella already seated, radiating power and confidence. She looked up, her eyes twinkling. "Anya, darling, you look magnificent. Are you ready to show Mr. Armitage what he's truly lost?" I took a deep breath, a smile spreading across my face. "Absolutely. He thinks he can replace relationships with algorithms. Let's prove him wrong." Isabella leaned forward, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I know several other CEOs who feel exactly the same way. They're tired of being treated like data points. They want genuine partnerships, real connections, and they trust you to deliver that." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "Anya, I think it's time you started your own company, a company built on the principles that Stellatech has so carelessly abandoned, a company that values relationships above all else. My own company." The thought was both terrifying and exhilarating, but as I looked into Isabella's unwavering gaze, I knew what I had to do. "Let's do it," I said, my voice filled with a newfound determination. "Let's show Armitage and the rest of the world that human connection is the most valuable asset of all." Resumo temático. Uma profissional de relações internacionais, injustamente demitida por executivo arrogante que desvaloriza sua expertise, utiliza sua reputação e contatos para criar sua própria empresa e superar seu antigo empregador, demonstrando o valor insubstituível das relações humanas nos negócios. Excellent. First order of business. A name. Anya Petrova and Associates is far too pedestrian. We need something evocative, something that speaks to the heart of what we do. Isabella swirled the wine in her glass, her brow furrowed in thought. "How about Nexus Global?" I considered it. It was strong, modern, but lacked warmth. "It's good, Isabella, but it feels a little corporate. We need something that reflects the personal touch, the human element." We brainstormed late into the night, fueled by passion and a shared sense of purpose. We tossed around ideas, scribbled on napkins, and debated the merits of different branding strategies. Finally, as the first rays of dawn peeked through the restaurant windows, Isabella snapped her fingers. "Bridgepoint International," she declared, her eyes shining. "It signifies connection, understanding, and building bridges between cultures and companies." "It's perfect," I smiled. "It is perfect." The next few weeks were a whirlwind. I secured a small office space in a discreet location, hired a skeleton crew of former colleagues who had also felt stifled by Stellatech's increasingly impersonal approach, and began reaching out to my network. The response was overwhelming. CEO after CEO, disillusioned with the cold efficiency of algorithm-driven business, pledged their support. They wanted the human touch, the personalized service, the assurance that someone understood their unique needs and challenges. One particularly satisfying call was with Mr. Hiroshi Tanaka, the notoriously reserved CEO of Kitech. He had been instrumental to the Stellatech deal, and I had cultivated a genuine friendship with him over the years, learning about his passion for bonsai and his dedication to preserving traditional Japanese arts. "Anya-san," he said, his voice unusually warm, "I was saddened to hear of your departure from Stellatech. Armitage-san does not understand the value of relationships. He sees only numbers." "Thank you, Mr. Tanaka," I replied, my heart swelling with gratitude. "Your support means the world to me." "Support. I am transferring Kitech's entire contract to Bridgepoint International. Armitage-san will learn that algorithms cannot appreciate a perfectly pruned bonsai." The loss of the Kitech contract sent shockwaves through Stellatech. The stock price plummeted, and Armitage was forced to publicly address the concerns of shareholders. I watched the press conference online, a grim satisfaction washing over me as he stammered and deflected questions about the company's new strategic direction. He looked flustered, uncomfortable, and utterly out of his depth. A few weeks later, I received an unexpected invitation, a charity gala hosted by the Swiss-American Chamber of Commerce. I had been a regular attendee during my time at Stellatech, and I knew that Armitage would be there, desperately trying to salvage his reputation. I hesitated, attending landing would be like walking into the lion's den. But then I thought of Isabella's words, "Show Mr. Armitage what he's truly lost." I accepted the invitation. I chose a dress that was both elegant and understated, a subtle statement of confidence and success. As I walked into the ballroom, I could feel the eyes of my former colleagues upon me. They looked a mixture of surprise, admiration, and perhaps a touch of envy. Armitage spotted me almost immediately. His face paled and he hurried over, forcing a smile. "Anya," he said, his voice strained, "fancy seeing you here. I trust you're enjoying your extended vacation?" I smiled sweetly. "On the contrary, Mr. Armitage, I've been quite busy. You see, I started my own company." He laughed, a hollow, dismissive sound. "Your own company? And what exactly does this company do? Teach people how to hold hands?" I took a sip of my champagne, savoring the moment. "Actually, we specialize in building bridges between cultures, between companies, and between people. We seem to be quite good at it. In fact, we recently acquired the Kitech contract." The color drained from his face. "Kitech? That's impossible." "Is it? I believe Mr. Tanaka values genuine relationships more than predictive algorithms." I paused, letting the silence hang in the air. "Perhaps you should have focused less on streamlining and more on hand-holding." He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. He looked defeated, diminished, and utterly humiliated. Just then, Isabella appeared at my side, her arm linked through mine. "Anya, darling, there you are. I was just telling Mr. Armitage what a brilliant visionary you are, a true asset to the international business community." She smiled, a predatory glint in her eyes. "Isn't that right, Mr. Armitage?" Armitage managed a weak nod. "Indeed, a valuable asset." As we walked away, I glanced back at Armitage. He stood there, alone and bewildered, a stark reminder of the price of arrogance and the enduring power of human connection. The revolution had begun. Resumo temático. Uma profissional de relações internacionais, injustamente demitida por executivo arrogante que desvaloriza sua expertise, utiliza sua reputação e contatos para criar sua própria empresa e superar seu antigo empregador, demonstrando o valor insubstituível das relações humanas nos negócios. "He'll soon realize that algorithms can't network at all," Isabella quipped, guiding me toward a group of familiar faces. "Now, let's introduce you to some potential investors. They've been waiting to hear about Bridgepoint International." The evening transformed into a whirlwind of introductions, handshakes, and enthusiastic conversations. I felt alive, energized by the belief that I was finally on the right path. Each interaction was a validation of my years of hard work, a testament to the power of genuine connection. But amidst the triumph, a nagging doubt lingered. Armitage's arrogance was a shield, but beneath it lay a ruthless ambition. He wouldn't simply accept defeat. He would retaliate. The first sign came a week later. I received a cease and desist letter from Stellatech's lawyers, alleging that Bridgepoint International was unfairly soliciting Stellatech clients and utilizing proprietary information. The claim was baseless, a blatant attempt to intimidate and stifle my burgeoning business. I called my lawyer, David Stern, a seasoned litigator with a reputation for tenacity. "They're bluffing, Anya," he assured me. "Their claims are weak and they know it. They're just trying to bleed you dry with legal fees." "But can they?" I asked, the fear creeping back into my voice. "Can they shut me down? Not if we fight back. And we will. We'll file a countersuit, alleging defamation and unfair competition. We'll make them regret ever sending that letter." David was confident, but the legal battle was a drain on my resources, both financial and emotional. The stress was mounting, and I found myself questioning whether I had made the right decision. Then came the second blow. One of my key hires, a former Stellatech executive named Mark Olson, suddenly resigned, citing personal reasons. I suspected something more sinister. Mark had been instrumental in securing several crucial deals, and his departure was a significant setback. Later that evening, I received a cryptic phone call from an unknown number. "Anya, it's Mark," the voice whispered. "I can't talk long. Armitage offered me a deal I couldn't refuse. More than double my salary, a corner office, the whole 9 yards. He said if I didn't take it, things could get difficult." "Difficult how?" I asked, my voice trembling. "He implied he had dirt on me, something about past investments. I don't know the details, but he said he could make my life very unpleasant." The pieces fell into place. Armitage wasn't just playing dirty. He was playing for keeps. He was using his power and resources to systematically dismantle Bridgepoint International, one piece at a time. I felt a surge of anger, but it was quickly followed by a wave of despair. Was I fighting a losing battle? Was Armitage too powerful to overcome? That night I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, replaying the events of the past few weeks, searching for a way out. As dawn approached, an idea began to form, a risky, audacious plan that could either save my company or destroy it completely. I needed to expose Armitage for what he was, a ruthless manipulator who valued power above all else. But how? He was careful, calculated, always one step ahead. Then I remembered something Mr. Tanaka had once told me. The greatest strength lies not in brute force, but in understanding your opponent's weaknesses. Armitage's weakness wasn't his ambition or his arrogance, it was his insatiable need for validation. He craved the approval of the business elite, the accolades of the media, the recognition of his peers. And that gave me an idea, a very dangerous, very public idea. I reached for my phone, a steely resolve hardening my gaze. It was time to play Armitage at his own game, but I would play it with a different set of rules. A set of rules that valued honesty, integrity, and above all, human connection. I dialed Isabella's number. "I need your help," I said, my voice low and determined. "I have a plan to expose Armitage, but it's going to require all of your influence, all of your connections, and all of your courage." Isabella didn't hesitate. "Tell me everything, darling. Let's bring this monster down."